entered the Bamidele house. The truth is that that day was was the day I realized that humiliation has levels, really, because the thing about pride is this: it doesn't disappear just because you're poor. It just learns how to wait quietly for you to be alone, you know, before it cries. That Bamidele boy made it very clearly from the first day that my presence was annoying him. Not in an explosive way, in the subtle, calculated way that rich boys, you know, exhibit without even trying. He didn't raise his voice, he didn't insult me directly, he just used me, basically. He would be like, you know, snapping his fingers like he was calling for the waiter, or, you know, or trying to remember something. Bring water. The day he did that to me, I'm like, water? I froze. Water? I glanced at my mom. She was on her knees scrubbing the kitchen tiles. Sleeves rolled up, her forehead was down. I could see that she was stressed. She looked at me briefly and her eyes flickered between us. And her hands paused, you know, mid-air, mid-scrubbing, basically. I shook my head slightly, and the boy noticed. And he went, "Are you deaf too?" My chest tightened. Oh, come on. How could someone be so rude? I think I was more mad because he wasn't like an adult. He was like a teenager like me. It just felt so annoying just having a boy talk to me that way, and even insinuate things about my mom, you know. I said, "I am not your house help." The moment I said that, the kitchen went quiet. Even the fridge seemed to stop humming. He turned very slowly. His eyebrows lifted. He was quite amused. He was like, "Interesting. Then, what are you doing here?" Oh, I didn't have an answer to that. I mean, that won't humiliate my mom. So, I swallowed it. I walked to get the water, and that was the beginning of our war. This idiot there assigning tasks to me, the way people just tempt you, just test your boundaries. Small things at first, then deliberate ones. It would be like, rewash those plates, clean that counter again. I can still see marks. You see him looking at the kitchen counter like it was up for exhibition or something. One time he made me mop the same section of the floor 4 times while he stood there like a very disappointed supervisor. Now the annoying part was that he had a habit of walking around the spot I already mopped. So I was more pissed at the fact that it was his fault that the floor was dirty again minutes after I had mopped it, and then he was making me mop it again. So deliberately, he was trying to tempt me and make me mad. I hated him. I hated that guy. I hated how calm he was, how unbothered, how untouched. But worst of all, I hated how my body reacted to him anyway. Because sometimes, when he leaned too close to point something out to me, my heart would just betray me and start to beat, you know. Because when he smirked just slightly, something attractive, something confusing, something hot just twisted in my stomach. That time I was quite young. I told myself it was fear, but I was lying, honestly. There was one moment I still replay in my head, when I want to remind myself how quickly power can shift. He was sitting at the dining table, you know, legs stretched out, laptop open, and I was wiping the chairs around him. He said, "Don't bump me," you know, without ever looking at me. I didn't. But I passed behind him. My elbow brushed the back of his chair, and he just turned sharply. He asked me, "Are you trying to get my attention?" My mouth dropped open, like, "What? Please." He laughed softly. He said, "Careful. Girls like you can misinterpret things." He leaned back, his eyes finally, you know, meeting mine, slowly, intentionally. "It means," he said, You shouldn't forget where you are. I wanted to scream. Instead, I just smiled. And in that smile, something changed. That was the day I stopped shrinking. I still did the work. I still helped my mother. I still swallowed my anger when necessary. But I started watching him. The way he avoided certain rooms, the way his voice softened when his mother called, the way he lingered in the kitchen long after he had, he claimed that he hated noise and everything. One time he caught me watching him, and he's like, "What?" I said, "Nothing." Then he studied me for a moment, like he was just seeing me for the first time. Not as the help, not as some issue, or an inconvenience or something. But he just stared at me, and he was like, "You're different." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, congrats, you noticed." He laughed. That stupid laugh, that real surprised laugh that felt like victory. Later that evening, as we were preparing to leave, my mom squeezed my hand tightly. Too tightly. She signed quickly. It was urgent. She said, "Don't talk back here. Don't look too much, just help me." I nodded. But my eyes drifted to the staircase and he was standing there. He was watching us leave. This time his gaze wasn't dismissive, he wasn't bored. He looked curious. And curiosity, I will later learn, is far more dangerous than cruelty. Because cruelty ends, curiosity grows. And as we stepped out of the Bamidele house that day, I didn't know it yet, but something irreversible was beginning. It wasn't really love or hatred, maybe something worse. Connection? Well, till next time, my people, life, lessons, and everything in between.